Welcome to the Sprint 285 review and retro for TimePro. I'll jump into the email now and we'll run through the sprint that we've just gone through. So into the review, this was a 5-week sprint. We mainly just had the three of us, myself, Yulal, and Chris C. Chris isn't able to join us today because of client work. So we had the one sprint goal, which was to be able to provision from the Angular page. We're not done on this, but we are extremely close. We've got pretty much all of the work that we need up in staging. We're just waiting for a small fix before we're able to fully test it out and deploy. We're running into a little bit of an issue with the old web UI. Over the PBIs that we completed, there's a lot of PBIs here. A lot of them were bug fixes, which Chris was able to address as soon as they popped up. So that was great. We're also, although they're marked as committed, we've got a lot of the public web UI migration, moving that into the Angular and .NET API. These are just about complete, as I mentioned before. We've got them in staging. We're just waiting on a small fix before we can go ahead and deploy. Same goes for a lot of these refactors. Yazi and Josh were only back on the project today, so we've had to pull in a bit of work for them just to make sure they got something that would have filled this morning. So a lot of these are, sorry?
Yazi and Josh, what were they on?
Yazi was over on the Easy Leave team, been helping them with their migration with EF core.
Okay.
And yeah, Josh has been off.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Cool. Are we happy with the summary, or would you like me to dive into any of the PBIs?
All right. Well, there looks like there's a lot of bugs there. Have we had, is this reversions? We had problems pop up from the migration work we've been doing, or what was this?
Yeah, so a handful of them at the start here. These have been because of that. Yeah, a couple of them down there with the CRM and the scheduler. This was to do with upgrading some of the stuff that we're using. So a lot of them have just popped up from the .NET 8 upgrade.
Right, no worries.
Where is Chris Clement today?
He's on client work.
Okay. Can you go to the very top? This is a very small thing, but see how you've got the placeholder insert video link.
Yep.
The SSW rule map. That's always in uppercase. The placeholders. Anyway. Later
Okay.
on.
Do you want me to fix that up now or later on?
Later on.
Cool.
On the template.
Could someone jot that down just to remind me at the end, please? Cool. So the sprint burn down reflects this. Since we had to add a bunch more in, it's not quite as steep as we would have liked. Again, a lot of those are also awaiting a deployment and sitting in staging. So the PRs have been accepted. Happy to move on?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. As I mentioned before, mainly myself, Chris, and Yulal have been working on it this week. We've had Josh and Yazi just jump back on today.
Cool.
Code coverage.
Tom I hasn't spent any time at all. Correct?
Still on Sugar Learning. Correct. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Code coverage has stayed the same. We haven't added any tests into the front end or the back end, so it's much the same as last week. The build pipeline, again, nothing really to call out here. We've got a little bit of a shorter pipeline duration, but this fluctuates, so that's not really a big deal. Deployments, we managed to get 3 deployments, so that's great. Able to get 2 of them last Thursday and 1 yesterday. Application health, our error count is down from last week. A lot of them, I've looked into it and they're just 404s from a bot spamming different endpoints. So nothing to report on there.
Regarding that one, Josh, it might be a good idea to talk to Nick Curran and see if you want to insert the other more modern dashboard, see if you like that.
Okay. Cool. Can you jot that one down somewhere, please, Josh? Great. Moving on to the roadmap. So moving to .NET 8 and the controllers, there wasn't a whole lot of movement this week because we've been prioritizing a lot of bugs that came in, and then also the public web UI, because there's not a whole lot left in that feature. So we're trying to finish that off before we push too far forward in the others.
Who is working on the removing MVC?
So that would be Yalal, myself, and Chris have been working on that because the MVC is all in the public web UI.
Okay, and when I look at the pie chart, it looks like there's a long way to go, but when I look at the epics, it looks like it's almost there.
Yes, so we've still got to pull in some of the controllers into this epic, but also we're starting to move on to some of the controllers which are a bit larger and a bit more complex. So there's going to be, yeah, a lot more endpoints in those. We're happy to move on.
Yep.
Cool. R&D, again, much the same as last week. It's sort of the .NET migration, YARP sort of stuff. Not much there. And then the sprint retro. Provisioning is getting close, so that's great. Multiple deployments and also a lot of bugs addressed promptly. What didn't go so well, it was only a small team. We're getting pulled apart there for the TINA team and whatnot.
Who got pulled apart for the TINA team?
Jack P and Ben.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, and another issue, again, the web UI is blocking that provisioning from accessing the Angular app. So that's, as I mentioned, that's the issue that we're waiting on before we can deploy.
Can you just put in a note what didn't go well? Lost Jack P and Ben and to Tina.io. Yep. I think that's kind of related to the first one. You could just put dash and. But maybe they're different issues. Tina.io and IO is small I-O.
Okay.
Like .com.
How's that?
Okay.
And improvements, I was wanting to go through the backlog a little bit more and refine it, and also go through with Yuli hopefully at some point and see what Yuli and yourself, Adam, and figure out what the current priorities are and what we're wanting to sort of.
So, is this for planning?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, this is an improvement for next sprint, but it will be for planning. Yeah.
All right. I do have a focus. I want to get recurring invoicing migrated because I have changes I want to make to it.
Okay, recurring invoice. All right. Could someone jot that down for me, please? Thank you.
My focus is to make sure that the Easy Leave team are in sync with you guys, so that if there's anything you need to do, that you do it, so you know what's going on. The other thing is to make sure the provisioning works fine, and we get rid of MVC. And then after that, it's the .NET 8 100%.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so jumping into planning, that's good because most of that stuff, except for the reoccurring invoices, is in it. So yeah, I'll try and figure out how we can bring in some of those reoccurring invoice PBIs. Just while you're on the topic of the Easy Leave, I have touched base with Dan, and we're going to set up a weekly meeting, generally on Thursdays after this sprint review, so we can go through what is planned for the next sprint in TimePro, and also what's happening in the Easy Leave sprint, just to make sure there's no clashes.
Cool. Isn't it Wednesday today?
Yes, it is Wednesday. Did I say Wednesday? I meant to say Thursday. Thursday, I will be meeting up with him, with the exception of tomorrow, so I'll give him a call this Avi.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, are we happy to jump into planning?
Yep.
Great. Forecast. So as I discussed, sorry?
Zoom in.
Zoom in. We are. So as I discussed with Yuli this morning, we're going to extend the sprint out to be 2 weeks, just because we have got the public holiday, and then we're going to be missing a couple of the devs over Friday. So the sprint goal for this sprint, again, we're going to try and make sure that we can provision from the Angular page. And I had that there as the sole goal, but unless if there's something else you'd like to add.
Done?
Sorry?
Isn't that almost done?
It is almost done. We are getting close, but we've just got to test it all and get that fix in.
You've got a lot of zeros there. What's that about?
So I've assigned these ones zeros. These are ones that Josh did this morning. We've just marked some of the controllers as obsolete. So it's not in production at the moment, which is part of our definition of done. So we can't mark it as complete, but there's going to be no changes, no testing to be made to them because it's simply just marking it as obsolete.
Right. It's rare to see zero. Normally a minimum is 1, but okay, if you literally just have to mark it, why not just mark it before putting it in?
Sorry, say again. Mark it before putting it in.
As in, why not have already cleaned those up before the sprint planning?
Because we're awaiting the issue that's holding back the public web UI before we can deploy. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so up the top of it, we've got the public web UI. We're going to really push to try and finish that one off this sprint. Then we've got a bunch.
I think that credit note thing is urgent from Stefan. I forgot about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So of the stuff up the top, even though these ones have already been committed from last sprint, or how do you like to order this?
I order it by priority. Unless you've got like a lot of momentum on something, finish it off. But once you finished off the thing you've already started, I want the priority to be that credit note thing.
Now, have you seen the requirements for the credit note?
Yeah, I was meeting with Chris and Stefan.
Okay.
He's blocked on a bunch of financial stuff.
Yeah, so you need to move that to the top. I agree. If it's coming from the accountants.
Okay. How I did have this organized was all the ones that we're bringing over from the last sprint up the top, the ones that we do have momentum, and then it's priority here.
But you wouldn't have momentum on all of those, would you?
Well, most of them are just about complete. Like
Okay.
as I
They're all
mentioned.
fine as well. I'm not too stressed as long as that's a sprint goal. Can you make the credit note a sprint goal?
Yep. I'm gonna probably put Chris to that. He's most familiar with it. So.
When you say he's on client work, how long for?
Just today.
Okay.
So Chris C, because there's multiple Chris's.
Chris. Chris Boss. Chris.
There we are. Yeah, cool. Alrighty. Yeah, so bringing over all them, that credit note feature, we've got that as number 1 priority. I will actually even put that above that one there, if you would agree.
I do.
More important.
Can you go back to the actual sprint page, like not the email, just the actual web page for the sprint?
Sure can.
Can you drag the bug that is second last up to just below credit notes? No, I'm sorry, another one. No, the one above that, the new invoice thing, that one, yeah.
Just above.
Just
or below.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, absolutely.
Actually, you might as well put the other bugs with it. Just group all the bugs, but put that bug first, please.
No worries. Okay. I suppose while I'm on this page, we can adjust any of the priority if you see fit.
Yeah,
so credit note, address the bugs, and then the public web UI stuff, we want to knock that over.
Yeah.
And then as per the discussion last week that we had about moving Angular to blob storage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping to get that done because that will unblock a couple more of the .NET 8 controllers and migration PBIs.
Okay.
Yeah, and then just a couple more controllers in there.
Okay, beautiful.
Also shift that one up here because it's already being started. Okay, if we're happy with that, the capacity is just a little bit shorter than what we had there, but I'm trying to leave a bit of a buffer there because I've heard that Josh could be moving to Tina as well. So yeah,
Okay.
happy with that.
Beautiful.
Okay,
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Great. No worries. Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.
Bye.
See you later.